Hey guys, long time no see. It's another beautiful sunny day in my basement. And yes, 2 videos in one day, freshly squozen from the content fruit. Let's talk about the Fighters of Street 5. So, this game came out back in 2016, and man, did it catch a lot of attention when it was first coming out, more than I think any other fighting game on the market. So many people were so excited for Street Fighter V as the next installment for fighting game players and for people that are just fans of Street Fighter, and it turned out to be and I'll be the first to admit that I was one of those people that memed on Street Fighter V, calling it 8-frame Fighter 5 and boring Fighter 5 and dumb Fighter 5. Anyways, a lot of us were kind of upset with Street Fighter 5. It's gone through many seasons, and it's not until I think about season 3 where things started to get interesting for the game. Speaking from experience, season 1 was primarily like the test phase to see what they could do to be able to take the game in different directions. So a lot of people, myself included, played the game for a year straight with no updates just to see what the developers would do for Season 2. Season 1 of Street Fighter V is probably one of my most personal played games of all time. Actually, just to take a look at my Steam hours, I played about 566.9 hours of Street Fighter V. I started placing in my offline locals, even getting as high as 2nd place. I started traveling to different tournaments, including my very first year at EVO, where I got this jersey and I got out of pools and then drowned. It was a pretty good year. I was very hopeful for Street Fighter V. However, when Season 2 came around, that's when things started to change, for the better, of course, but I didn't like the direction they were trying to go in. I was really hoping that they would really try to restructure the game and try to make it more fun, because there was a sort of stiffness to Street Fighter V when it first came out, very bland and very boring to watch, to be honest. And then when Season 2 came around, they kind of fixed that, but it introduced this crazy meta where V-triggers just run rampant. If you don't know what V-trigger is, it's basically a set meter that you have that builds throughout the match. When it gets full, your character gets a set of moves that they didn't have previously, which made them incredibly crazy and could completely annihilate your entire health bar. Then Season 3 came out, they introduced the V-Trigger 2, and Season 4 came out, Arcade Edition with Kage, and then that mold of stiff gameplay started to break with these new characters that they started to release, like Urien, Gil, like Manat. A bunch of these characters came out that really were super interesting, and a lot of people were definitely making the best out of that. But it was at this point where I started to focus on different things. I dropped the game on Season 2, and I started to prioritize other things, and I also mained Bison back in Season 1, which was really good, and he got better throughout time. But unfortunately, I switched to Jury, which came out at the end of Season 1, and she was poo-poo stinky. Yeah, she wasn't very good. She was actually awful. Terrible. Thinking back at it gives me nightmares. Jury Season 1 is the equivalent of the movie Cats that came out a couple years ago, if that whole movie was basically just a steaming pile of dog shit. Oh, I guess they're not that different then. And she did get better Season 2, but she was overall just way worse than what she used to be in Street Fighter 4, which spiraled me into a deep, long fighting game depression. Ever since then, I've been praying, I've been hoping, I've been wishing for something to happen to Juri to make her fun again. "Oh no, exclaimed Ono. "You must suffer." So I chose death, and I quit the game. Since then, Ono has actually stepped down, and a new director has stepped up called Takayuki Nakayama, which is exciting because I've been dying to see what they would do and what direction they would take the final season of Street Fighter V. Well, there's something I want to correct with the statement here. Ono did step down and he did leave Capcom, yes, but Takayama has always been the director to Street Fighter V and has been more in charge of everything going on. But I will say that ever since Ono left, there's been a lot of community feedback being applied to their logic. There's been a lot of openness, a lot of communication, and a lot of positivity coming out of Street Fighter Fighter V as of lately. And I can't help but to think that Ono had some sort of a grasp on Street Fighter V for all these years that has held the game back. So I just wanted to correct that. And that's what leads us to today. For the final Street Fighter V season, they are really trying to go above and beyond, trying to see what they can do to the Street Fighter mechanic to make it the ultimate final season of Street Fighter V until they move on. They started off with revealing every single character except for the final one of the character pass, and one of those characters includes Akira from Rival Schools, which is a fantastic choice to bring into the Street Fighter universe because Rival Schools is such an old classic, and reviving one of those characters, especially such a beloved character, is a fantastic idea. They revealed Dan from Street Fighter Alpha and Street Fighter 4. They revealed Rose from Street Fighter Alpha and Street Fighter 4. They revealed Oro, which is from Street Fighter 3, and then Akira from Rival Schools. And the fifth character is unknown, at least we thought for now. They revealed the fifth character to be 11, which is another counterpart to 12, a character from the Third Strike series or Street Fighter 3. Wait, what do you mean that's not the fifth character? It was just leaked. A bonus character? What? And he's gonna be a random select character with a random V trigger and a random V skill? What? And you like that type of character?
Yes, I approve.
What? Yeah, apparently 11's going to be a bonus character that changes every single match you play. So it's like a random select character, and it morphs into that character, kind of like a shadow character. It's kind of cool. And the fact you can do a random V skill and random V trigger, that's also really cool. All right, we're going in the right direction. So today, a winter update came out. I want to watch it with you guys. So we're going to go take it step by step and kind of break down what the hell actually is coming to Street Fighter V.
そうですね。皆さんの反響を受けて開発チーム全員大変励みになりました。引き続きシーズン5に向けて現在様々なコンテンツを制作しています。
So far, this is off to a beautiful start. We want to hear about updates, want to hear about Rose, about Dan. This is going to be a good video. They showcase a whole bunch of different things, a new stage, some new moves, some new things that are coming to Street Fighter V, and then we get to the good stuff. Rose. Rose is a character that appeared in the Alpha series of Street Fighter and in Street Fighter 4, which she was an incredibly fun character. Very, very well-rounded and really fun to play when you actually got down to her nitty-gritty, which is primarily her reflex, her fireball game, and her Ouroboros, which is fighting game slang for these things that are floating around her at all times that have hitboxes, and if you run into them, they hit you. You can set up different mix-ups and Oki situations with these orbs and made Rose really, really fun. So I want to see how she's going to be like in Street Fighter V, if they have any footage here.
この動作指示書を使ってモーションキャプチャーを行います。モーションアクターさんと相談しながら技を完成させていきます。演技をするアクターさんの他にアクションコーディネーターさんや補助役を担当する方がいます。シリーズおなじみのソウル PA でも実際にアクションしていただいてデータを取ります。プロのアクターさんによる演技ですので絶対に真似をしないでくださいね。収録したモーションデータを使ってモーションデザイナーによる調整を加えゲームに実装していきます。ここに攻撃区形ややられ区形をつけていき完成していきます。
So it's pretty cool to see some behind the scenes footage of how they make characters and how they do their motions and their animations and the motion capture process for trying to make some of these moves. And of course, you have a little bit of assistance to the moves that are kind of unnatural to the human body, because I don't think anybody could actually extend their foot from behind their backs and not fall on their ass. Kind of makes you wonder what other moves they motion captured in order to animate that specific move. My favorite would be the bison hook, the down forward heavy, which is basically a simulation of me trying to reach a bag of candy. That's right, that was plus. I think my favorite would be Nakali, because she's such a feral animal. Someone could just go savage at all times in the studio. Just anyways, I think it's kind of cool to see the motion capture footage.
まずローズの通常技ですね。過去作の再現と新たに作り直した技が混在してます。
Ooh, her footage is looking clean. I love the animation of the scarf going all around her body whenever she doesn't use it anymore. I love that. I also really appreciate the fact that her hair looks more like the Alpha series than in Street Fighter 4. She also has a better pose than she did. Her moves are just animated beautifully. Everything about this character is just looking like an overall glow up since Street Fighter 4 in terms of aesthetics.
しゃがみ強キックもおなじみの技で、これもね強いですね。スライディングも健在です。後に紹介します V スキルやトリガーと相性がとてもいい技ですね。
So she still has her old sweep and her old slide, and that slide was a really good slide because it would go under projectiles and she would use it with her Ouroboros type super where she could use it to get in on the opponent and be completely safe and not punishable, and maybe even combo off of it with her orbs. He also said that her slide is very compatible with her V skill and her V trigger, which obviously means that her orb is going to be a V trigger.
飛び道具のソウルスパークはなんと空中でも出せるようになりました。
Hold the phone, she's got an air projectile now? I thought only devils, demons, and creatures named Goki could do fireballs in the air.
ローズは新必殺技を習得したようです。ソウルパワーの玉を空中に設置し、時間差で爆発させる技ですね。
That's pretty neat. She's got a new move where it's like a mine. She can set it and it explodes over time, which means that it can be used for Oki and it can be used for combos. I like this. I like new moves. I like new moves.
対空技は自らがジャンプすることがなく、マフラーを利用して相手を掴む技に変わりました。
Damn, dude, her anti-air special is different from what it was. It used to be called Soul Throw, and she would just grab you in the air and throw you on the other side. I like this one a lot better because number one, it looks cooler, and number two, it stays on the same side. So in case they're trapped in the corner and they try to jump out, you can catch them and they can stay in the corner. My dog is barking. Dogs don't bark. I thought only cats did that. All right, I took care of the cat. Now where was I? Oh yes, her anti-air grab. So yeah, overall it's a better anti-air move. Not to mention that it also causes a wall bounce, which leads into combos.
V スキル1はタロットカードを引き、自身の性能を上げたり、相手を弱らせたりする技です。
So basically they're adding a form of status ailments into the game with the form of a tarot card. So I guess she draws randomly whether or not you'll get a defense down, maybe an attack down, maybe an attack up. We don't know if the status ailment applies to the opponent if unblocked. Now, if they're going to be adding status ailments similarly to Persona 4 Arena, where you're frozen or where you're going to be standing in place and you can't move, only jump up and down, that's when things get a little frustrating. But interesting concept nonetheless.
V スキル2はおなじみソウルサテライトです。最大2個まで呼び出すことができます。
Wait, so orbs is a V skill now? Oh my god, why would I ever want to use tarot cards when orbs exist? That's V skill 2. V skill 1 is definitely for the hipster Rose players, but V skill 2 is going to be the way to go.
タイマー型のワープ技。出現位置をいくつか選択可能です。空中から徴収するのもいいと思います。
Man, you combine V Trigger 1 with the teleports and V Skill 2 with the orbs. I don't know if the orbs will stay when you teleport, but if you do, that's going to make for some pretty gnarly mix-ups, especially if you throw Fireball, if you have V Skill up, and then you teleport over there and they have to guess which way it's going. It's going to be kind of gnarly.
V トリガー2はみんな大好きソウルイリュージョンですね。分身を出現させて、コンボを狙って大ダメージを与えましょう。
Now that's cool. I'm glad that they're bringing that back from the Alpha series because it was a pretty cool concept in general for her to have, and I think that could really, really up her damage because you're basically doing two different moves at once, and that does quite a bit when you can set it up correctly. But for me, I'm going to be using teleports with V-Skill 2 because that's just the type of player that I am. I like to mix people up, and unless this V-Trigger 2 has some form of Ganadian properties, I think I'm going to stick with V-Trigger 1. But it's a cool one nonetheless. Overall, Rose seems like a really fun character. Her Soul Spiral seems really fun. Her Ouroboros is V-Scale now. Her Teleport is a lot of fun. One thing I didn't see was her Reflect. So I'm more than likely we're not going to see any Reflects coming from Rose. She can't reflect fireballs back. She can't absorb them. But I think there's another character that we need to see, and that is Dan. They're going to be showing off Dan next.
戦闘服バトルコスチュームですね。こちらを、見ていただきたいと思います。どうぞ。
Dan Hibiki, back after the ultimate improvement.
はい、どうでした？
Damn, my boy Dan looking nice right now. And that nose is looking kind of pretty too. Dan is kind of reminding me of that kid you used to bully in elementary school. And then he grew up to be this guy. Yeah, be careful who you make fun of in school. They're going to come back with a long ass schlong nose, ripped abs, and you're going to be on a list. You don't want to be on that list.
Psycho's ultimate master, right here, right now!
TGS のオンライン番組でも紹介しました V スキル1は各種必殺技をキャンセルして発動できることが特徴となります。スキルを発動することで今までにない V ゲージの駆け引きが発生します。ダウンを使った場合も相手にした場合も新しいバトルを楽しんでいただければとも思います。
Pretty interesting V skill. It's a taunt essentially that you can cancel out of pretty much anything, including your fireball, which could be useful for rolling under and catching them by surprise. But I think the whole point of this V skill is to essentially just build your V gauge. I did see that you can actually combo in from that V skill into like jab into uppercut, which is really nice. But overall, it's a pretty meh type of V skill in my opinion, but let's see what a second one is.
V トリガー1は1ブロックで発動できるというのが一番の特徴です。通常技から発動してコンボをつなげたりガードをさせて有利状況を作るといった動きをバトルの序盤から狙っていきます。覇王が道剣を最大まで貯めることで壁バウンド効果を発生させたりガードフラッシュを誘発させたりすることもできます。
So it's basically just a big old Hadouken. Okay, that's pretty cool. One of the things I find interesting is that it's one bar. That's the first ever one bar V trigger in the game. And for good reason. It's just a big old fireball. But it does have a lot of utility. They said that it has a lot of plus frames because you can act out of it quicker. You can combo off of it. You can even charge it up for you to guard crush or to wall bounce or to just do whatever the hell you want with it. One thing's for sure, I don't think anybody's gonna get hit with a fully charged Gadoken because it takes so long to charge up. They can just jump over and just be done. But overall, I think it seems like a pretty good idea to be able to have a big old fireball because, you know, his fireball doesn't go full screen or anything, so he has a bigger fireball. It kind of reminds me of Real. And after that, you can just do whatever you want with them on block or on hit. And with the V skill, you can probably use this all the time.
しゃがみ強キックを除いた全ての通常技から発動することができる V スキル2は一見アピール動作のみで終わっているように見えますが動作の出かかりを通常技、必殺技で一度だけキャンセルできるようになっています。これをうまく使うことで動画のように通常技をキャンセルしてさらに通常技、必殺技に連携するといった他のキャラクターにはできない動きが可能となっています。
Hold on a second. That, they really had me in the first half there. So I initially thought it was just another version of V Skill 1, but just like a little worse. But there was a catch. Apparently, you can cancel the taunt into nothing, and you can just freely act out of it for you to do just basically anything you want. Essentially, it's a stance cancel. They put in a stance cancel in Street Fighter V, and they gave it to Dan. This is probably the coolest V skill I have seen in Street Fighter V. And not just that, but whenever you cancel, you build up V trigger or V gauge, which is super really good. But they did say that it's going to take some skill and some practice, which makes it even better because that just allows for more creativity in the game. I'm loving the direction they're taking Dan right now. I mean, V skill 1 was okay. V trigger 1 was okay. V skill 2 is next level. They already kind of experimented with stance changes with Zeku from young to old and old to young stances. And Dan now has one, but that's a little bit more traditional than Zeku's. But man, I'm so happy that they're giving Dan, of all characters, a creative V skill like this.
V トリガー2は発動することで V ゲージが V タイマーとなり、タイマー中はパワーアップした画道剣と交流剣が使用できるようになります。画道剣はヒット時の有利時間が増え、交流剣は完全無敵が付与されますが、最後の攻撃ボタンを同時に入力することで さらにパワーアップした破天画道剣と合光龍剣を繰り出すことができるといった内容になっています。強化された画道剣を攻めの起点に使ったり、光龍剣で防御面の強化やコンボを狙うなど。
So V-Trigger 2 is more traditional to the Shotos. Ken has something similar, Ryu has something similar, where they enter a specific state where everything gets enhanced. His Fireball, his Hadouken, and maybe his Tatsu, but it seems like a really good one because he's able to cancel out of his Fireball and do a Shoryuken right afterwards, or maybe dash forward to be able to get the advantage on block, or maybe even just blow it all on damage and just do like the EX Tatsu or something like that. I think V-Trigger 1 is an interesting concept, but I think V-Trigger 2 for sure is more traditional and probably the one that a lot of people are going to be going towards in the beginning.
そういえば挑発伝説に関しても TGS でちらっと見せましたが、最後まで技を見ると実はこうなります。
Too easy. Oh, burn this in your memory. A piece of cake.
Yep. Give him an award. Give him something. Give him a raise. Give him a plaque. Give him a car. Just a nice... Give him a Tesla. Just award them with something for making this.
対戦動画の最後の場面で使ったものが新規バトルシステム V シフトです。ご紹介が遅れましたストリートファイター5バトルディレクター重野です。またおしげとも呼ばれてます。
So ever since Street Fighter V Season 5 has been introduced, they've been hyping up this brand new mechanic, and we have no idea what it was. For the longest time, we thought it was Critical Art 2, which is basically a second super. They did that with Street Fighter 4, and we thought it was going to be with Street Fighter 5, but apparently that is not the case. Also, Woshige.
Caught low again, has to burst immediately.
Full meter though, full meter! He's gonna have to do, oh he can't, no burst!
So
no
smart!
Burst. Oh my
So
God!
smart!
Genius!
So smart, he couldn't burst because of the super. But Washiga thinks it's over!
Locked down,
But he
locked
won
down,
the last round!
What a
And the
start!
round one doesn't
What a
care!
start!
He still got 65%!
Oh my God!
Washiga, no!
Washiga, not like this! What are you
What are you
standing up for?
standing up for?
Why?
Oh my God! Washiga thought it was over and stood up.
What are you standing up for? Oh man, I'm so glad you're doing well for yourself, Mr. Woshige, because that was just heartbreaking.
V シフトは V ゲージを消費して行う新しい防御システムです。V ゲージを消費する防御システムとしてスト5にはすでに V リバーサルが存在しますが、 V リバーサルは相手の攻撃をガード中のみ発動可能といった特性上、劣勢の場面で自由に発動できるシステムではありませんでした。
The hell? It's basically a defensive mechanic where you go Ultra Instinct. It's literally you go Ultra Instinct. This is nothing new for Dragon Ball FighterZ players. So it's a defensive mechanic where you can step backwards and you can actually act out of it incredibly quick. That is cool, man. That is a great defensive mechanic because it's invul to throws, to strikes, to projectiles, and everything goes like slow motion, and then you can determine what you want to do. If you want to DP, if you want to... I wonder if you can super, if you can do whatever you want. You can punish. I'm just glad that they're not putting in the slow motion when you do it in neutral. So it's not like a YRC from Guilty Gear. Like imagine you being able to shift and having it go slow motion while they jump and it's a free anti-air. It's basically like a pause button. Oh my God. Street Fighter V does not need YRCs, but that would be nuts. So that's an interesting defensive mechanic. It's really going to change a lot of things with the game because, dude, I wonder if you can just spam it in between block strings and in between specific attacks. And I mean, I can just definitely see the meta being completely overturned with just this mechanic.
また、スロー演出発生時は専用の攻撃アクションである V シフトブレイクに派生することが可能となっております。
So the next step to this V shift is another move that can come out, but you have to dedicate that entire move because if it comes out, I imagine it's unsafe. And as we just saw, you can actually shift out of their V shift break, which is really cool. I wonder if you can actually cancel moves like normals into V-shift break, because that would be extremely meta and kind of cool, because you can just have an Ultra Instinct battle where they're just shifting in between each other. That would be so cool. The mind games in Street Fighter have increased. And to kind of put the cherry on top with all of this, we're going to be taking a look at the battle balance. I think they have a few clips. I did see a few of them on Twitter for Kage and for, I think, Nakali, and I want to see if there's any more that gets shown up. I wonder if there's any more for Jury. That's what I want.
可能な限り増やせればと思い、動画のような調整を日々行っております。
I know, Shuba. I know. They actually buffed her second V-trigger. Oh my god. If you guys don't know, her second V-trigger was absolutely useless. It was awful. It is probably one of the worst V-triggers of all time. And they buffed it. I also noticed another buff. So I noticed 2 buffs there, and I want to go through both of them because you got me excited, Capcom. You got me excited. When Jury activates V-Trigger 2, she spins around and it drains the meter. Alongside that, here's the buff. She actually gets a full stock of Fuhas. Light, medium, and heavy, so you can combo whatever you want, whenever you want. If you guys don't know, Jury runs on a resource type gameplay, which means that she has to stock all those different moves that you see down there in order to be able to use them. And it can be a bitch to manage sometimes. Previously, they didn't give you any stocks whatsoever. Now they give you a full stock of Fuhas. The second buff that I noticed is the fact that her heavy Fuha, which is the double kicks that she does, was not special cancelable into Super, which for the longest time, ever since she was released, I thought was one of the stupidest things ever. Finally, they're giving her a special cancelable heavy Fuha into Super, which can lead to very consistent kills, maybe even confirms into Super, can be a lot easier now. Thank God they're giving her this. But I want more. We'll just have to wait and see what else they gave to Jury. I really hope that they gave her a lot of different things. There's things that will make her incredibly fun. That's a good one, but I want to do more. I want more. And not to mention the buff that they gave to Nash, where he does his V skill and it pulls him in like a vacuum effect and you can continue the combo. That's cool. So they're really doing wonders with the updates, with the balance updates. I think they're going to do a great job. I can't wait to play Street Fighter V. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I can't wait to play Street Fighter V.
皆様いかがでしたか？
Yes, me like.
1体目のキャラクターのダン、新しいバトルシステム、新しいバトルバランスの調整などのコンテンツのリリースは2021年2月22日となっております。
I think that's pretty much it. They did promote the character pass, which includes all 5 characters, and the premium pass. And if you buy them both together, then you get 11, which is the bonus fighter that you get, and a free fighter profile theme apparently, and some cool wallpapers for your Steam. Anyways, I'm pretty much done for this right now. I'm pooped. I am just excited to play as Dan and as Rose, because I do want to try those out. I also want to try out the new update that they're going to be doing to the different characters. This could be the time for me to play Street Fighter V again for its final season of development. Let me know what you guys think of this whole update for Street Fighter V and the characters that they're going to be releasing so far. Anyways, take care of yourselves. I'll see you later.